Once again, I'd like to introduce Wilma Robertson and her presentation on Crowdsource Manager. The floor is yours, Wilma.
All right. Well, thank you, Keith. And I cannot imagine teaching you something new, Keith, but here we go. So the workflow that I'm going to describe, I have implemented for a couple of different projects already. So the first one that we used was for Health District 1 up north. And they're using this system to have a vaccine order system in place. So this is a form that can be accessed by different hospitals and clinics. It basically just asks some basic information, and then it just goes through and asks people, how much they would like to order. They would put in the number of doses, actually calculate to see if that's reasonable or not. So as soon as this is being submitted, which I won't do now because I don't want to mess up their system, it goes to a distribution center where they use part of the system that I'm going to show you to basically move that order through the distribution center through delivery and keep track of that along the way. A different example where I've used the identical workflow is this recreational water advisories. And so the way that this works, different health districts have a Survey 123 form that they fill out if there's a health advisory that's in effect. Then that data goes through this Crowdsource Manager that I will show you, where somebody at Health and Welfare can basically just go ahead and make sure the information is correct. And basically she'll just move one of the attributes, the status, from new to show on the website, and then it shows up on the live website. So this is a system from collecting data using Survey 123, then this Crowdsource Manager, which is this new piece that I'd like to show off today, to then showing it off on a public map. So my goal is to go all the way from beginning to end, from building a survey, and we'll see how far we get. We'll get through the Crowdsource Manager, and maybe we'll even get to build a dashboard that shows off this data. So to get started, we actually need to go to Survey 123 Connect, and I'll just start a new survey. So I am just going to call it the order demo system. And I'll just use the advanced template. And I'm just going to add a few questions, just asking, for their name, put in the date, how many vaccine doses they want, and so on. All right, so the first question is indeed a text type. It's going to be the name of the person who is ordering it. Then we'll put in a date question. So that's going to be today. And to make it easy for folks, I'm just going to set the default to just automatically clicking today. And then the last question, or the second to last question actually, is an integer, basically asking how many vaccine doses do you want. I want to keep it simple, so not all of them, just one vaccine. How many doses? And the last question, just to make it more interesting to look on the map, I'm just going to put in like a location type question. So let's call this location. In my settings, I will change this to be the order demo form. And let me see if this comes out as a fully functioning survey. So I have to go here to actually see how it translates. All right, so it's asking for the name, today, how many doses, and location. Then there's one extra question that I need to add in there, because we do want to keep track of the status as it's moving through the system. So let me close this one here, go back to the order form. And so the last one is going to be hidden because I don't want the person actually ordering the vaccine to manipulate the status themselves. And I'll just call this the status, and the default is going to be just a new order. Okay, so let me save that, make sure it looks good. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and publish this. All right, so while this is publishing, I'm going to minimize my screen here and open up my survey 123 website, because I would like to make this public, because we need to have some data in this new survey, which is where you guys will come in. Let's see here. Let me just refresh that and see if that's finished publishing by now. Yep, there it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this survey public. Everybody can go there. So let me save that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. So if you guys can actually go ahead and start filling out the survey. And I don't care if you fill it out just once, twice, 10 times. If you guys can just go ahead and get some data into this demo, that would be great. So there, one where you actually have to do some work. Okay, so let me close the chat out again here. So from there on out, I'm just going to go set up the Crowdsource manager in Arcgis online. So I need to go find my survey. And the easiest way to do that is just to do a search for it. So this is going to be an order system. There it is. Okay. And so what I have here is this data layer that we just created, a map, and then the form itself. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of work with this form here. So let me go ahead and open it up. I'm going to take a look at the data. And good for you guys. You already put in 5 of them. And so right now, my status is always set to new because that's the default, right? But I would like to have this be a drop-down and have a couple of different options. So it could be new, it could be sent to the distribution center, or maybe at that point, it's already shipped. So what I can do is I can look at all my fields and go into my status. And right there, I can create a list. So the first one, we've already put in as a default. So I want to make sure that it matches. That is new. But I also like to add in the option send to distribution. And I'm just going to call this distribution. And the last one is shipped. There we go. And I'm going to save that. Okay. So next, what I'm going to do is, let's see here. I went there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my overview, and I'm going to open it up in Map Classic. And you will see that it is not going to work. And I purposely kind of didn't fix my error beforehand because a couple of weeks ago I ran into this error and it was super frustrating. So I want you to figure out, if this is happening to you, this error accessing data failed, maybe to know where to go and look at that. All right, so to go ahead and fix that, I'm going to go back to my item page for the layer, and I'm going to take a look at my settings. All right, so it's already set to approved to be shared. The problem is this one here, because it says editors can see any features, even those that they add. So I'm going to change this to editors can see all features, because this is why we can see it. And at the same time, because we're going to be later on not just adding new data, which people will do through the survey, but we're also going to use this Crowdsource manager to change the status. I'm just going to go ahead now and allow people to edit. Okay, so let me click save on that. Okay, back to my map. And let me just go ahead and save this map. I'll just call it the order demo. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'll just refresh it. And hopefully we can now see the data on here. This looks a lot better. So if I click here, I can see that by now we have 11 of them. Okay, this is very awesome. Thank you guys, and keep going on them. I mean, if this is a boring presentation, then just fill out surveys to pass the time. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go set up my editor map so it will work in the Crowdsource manager. So to do that, I am going to make 3 copies of this particular layer. So copy, copy, and copy. So this bottom layer here, I'm going to rename it, and this is just going to be all data. And the reason that I'm keeping this one, you know, right now you're probably not wondering where I'm keeping it, but I'm keeping it for later because then it will be accessible to me if I wanted to make a dashboard out of it later on. So the first one I am going to rename as the new orders. Okay, the second one I'm going to say are the orders sent to distribution. All right, and then the last one I'm going to rename as completed orders. Okay, there we go. All right, and just to only show those, I have to, sorry, well, it would probably be a good idea to symbolize them all a little bit different. Plus, I'm not really a big fan of that symbol. So let's say that the new orders are, you know, a green star. And then the sent to distribution, let's make that a different one. And besides different colors, I also like to use different shapes. So people have two ways to differentiate between symbols. And then the completed orders, let's see, we haven't done the circles yet, so we'll make that a blue circle. Okay. All right, and then I don't have to worry about this one because you guys can see it anyway. So here we go. I need to set a filter so I can only see the new orders. So there's my filter. I'm going to apply that. For this one, my status is sent to distribution center. There we go. Apply that filter. And the last one are the completed orders. So the status would be completed orders or shipped. All right, so this is my map and I'm sticking to it. Let me save that. All right, so I'm gonna leave this open because we'll probably get back to it later depending on the time. So for this Crowdsource manager to work, you kind of start this configurable app from a different spot than you're probably used to. So that app is specifically tied to groups. So let me go ahead and open up a new tab with all my groups. And for every Crowdsource manager, you need to have a separate group set up. So I'm going to create a group. I'm going to call it the vaccine order demo. And then, you know, since typically this is probably something that, you know, you don't want to announce to the world or have to announce to the world, we'll just, you know, set it fairly restrictive. And I'm going to go ahead and save that group. All right, so next thing that I need to do is I need to add items to my group. So I need to go back and put in my order demo, the map that I just created. And I was kind of hoping that the other one would show up as well. So I need to add another item to my group, which is called, oh, I think that's this one right here. All right, add that in. All right, okay. So to create a new web app from this spot right here, we go to create web app and then go to configurable apps. And this might be a group that you haven't seen before. Now, there's a couple of different options. One of them, for example, if you wanted to create, you know, an app with a gallery with just the content of a specific group. But we are going to be using this Crowdsource manager. So let me create this web app and I'll just click done on here. And of course, if this were you, you would fill out all the metadata and, you know, be more comprehensive than I am during this demo. This is one of those cases, you know, do as we say, don't do as I do. All right. So let me show you how this works. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and launch it. So it is based on that map where we separated the one data layer, we copied it like 3 times, and then we set filters on them for each of them and renamed them. So that can be found here again. And so we should have a whole bunch of new orders at this point. So let's go and find them. And this was also the piece where we set it up so that on the layer settings, I set it to you can add new data and update it. And so the update comes in play here because this is where you're not adding new data, you're actually updating it. So if you come back here and you find there's no little pencil to help you update it, then you need to go back and just check that box that you can add and update. Okay, so let's see here. There's somebody ordering over 12,000 doses of vaccine. Must be a big hospital. And let's say that I did send this one over to the distribution center. So I can go in here and I can say, okay, I sent that one to the distribution. And let's say I just went straight to LOD's order. She ordered 2 of them, and I'm just process that data and send it off to the distribution center. And this voodoo doctor, very reputable doctor, we definitely want to make sure that he also gets his stuff shipped to the distribution center. So going from ordering distribution center and then off to the shipping it, that's sort of their workflow. But you can if there's multiple steps in there, doesn't have to be a distribution center involved. So for example, with the website I was showing you about the health of different recreational waters, that second step is being reviewed. And actually their flag is it comes in as the default, don't show on the website, and then the person managing it actually goes in here or in a an app that is based that looks just very similar, and she will go in and say, okay, this looks all good, it's not sort of a troll, and then she'll just go from nope, don't show on the website to yes. So she uses a flag like that to basically move it through the process. Okay, so we moved a couple over to orders sent to distribution. I think I did 3 of them. So if I click here, I should find those 3 back. So let's just go ahead and send LODs. Let's just ship it. So there we go, shipped. And so now when I go back and I look in completed orders, then I can tell that this one has been shipped. So looking at the time, I think I can still make a dashboard out of this that basically shows where different things are. So I'm going to go back to my map. I'm going to share it. And then I'm going to create a web app, go to the dashboards, and just click done here. And what I can do is go ahead, add some elements. So let me go add a list. And in this case, this is why I kept the all, because they're still on there. We didn't symbolize that particular layer, so we can go back and actually, do that. If I can move this around here. Let's see. I can close that one. Okay, this is a good one. I can go to the content. And if I go to my map here, symbolize all. Open it up in my map viewer. Go ahead and click on all, symbolize that based on the status. Okay, I'll just go with the default options here. I'll go ahead and save that. Okay. And then for my demo here, let me just, this is fine. So for my list, I'm gonna just put in a little bit of information. Let me just copy and paste this. I fiddled with this earlier. So I would like to have the name and then the number of doses that they ordered and the day that they ordered it on. So that's gonna look something like that. Okay, and I think maybe today turned out to be just a slightly different name. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'll click done. All right. And I'm just gonna save this dashboard and then refresh it. And then hopefully we can see some nicer, a status like where it's at in the process. And, you know, we can just even add other elements. For example, a pie chart with all the data based on the status. And it will just kind of show you, you know, how many have been ordered and what's going on. So if you really wanted to go one step further, and I don't think I can get to it in this demo, but you can go to Power Automate, which is an app which will allow you to set up a webhook. And so you can set up a workflow there where every time somebody sends in a survey, it automatically will send you an email just to notify you that a new survey has been submitted. And using the dynamic content that is part of it, you can actually access pieces inside the survey. For example, if you ask for an email of the person that is submitting the order, you can set it up so that when they hit submit, an email is automatically sent to maybe you, as well as the person who submitted the survey, just to thank you for your order, we have received it, type of thing. So there's a couple of things that you can chain together to come up with an entire system. So I think this is a good time to stop sharing.
Thank you, Wilma. There's a couple questions. I will kind of go through those and send those to you. First one from Danielle. Danielle's got a couple questions. Number one, did you develop any custom interfaces for modifying attributes, or are the clients making the modifications through the Crowdsource manager in ArcGIS Online?
So I typically don't make modifications to the app. If anything, I'll just use the customizable options. I think the big thing of making it look like you want it to look and have it show up the attributes. You know, remember, like with the pencil, and pick the ones that you want people to actually change. That's all set up in the map prior. That's why we separated it out, set the filters, and just that's where a lot of the setup occurs to make your Crowdsource app look good.
Okay, and then I guess maybe just even more basic, that Crowdsource manager, that app, is that available to anyone and everyone inside ArcGIS Online? Is it one of those?
If you have an ArcGIS Online creator license, then this is accessible to you. The reason why it took me a long time to even become aware of it is because we're all, you know, used to looking in a different spot and get access to all the different configurable apps, dashboard, everything that Esri has. And this one is a little bit harder to find because you need to be on a group page to initiate it.
Okay, but a person should, inside their ArcGIS Online, should be able to maybe just type in Crowdsource manager and find that sort of app to apply to something.
Right, right. It's, yeah.
Okay, now a couple of related questions. So even though you made copies of the data, 3 different copies and the original with all, it obviously is still actually referencing the same data layer stored in ArcGIS Online, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Like if during that time when I was creating the dashboard, some of you were still submitting new surveys, they would just all show up in the right place on the dashboard and in the Crowdsource manager.
Yeah, then Kelly had a question. Now, instead of making the 3 copies, could you symbolize the 3 attributes in just one layer right off the bat? Or was there a specific reason why you made those 3 separate copies? There
is a specific reason why I made those copies, because in the Crowdsource manager, I like the way where in the top left corner, it had those 3 items. It said like new, sent to distribution center, and submitted. And so it basically gives you really handy access to just one of them. And let me see if I can really quickly share and find that again. So the vaccine demo, those are the 3 layers that we have there. And so I did separate them out because I do like the way that people can just click on new orders or completed orders. So that's why I did that, so that they would show up like this over here.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to query and find which one are my new orders, because now I'm
and I would then there would be one arrow, and then if you clicked in here, they would just all show up. Yeah,
right.
And so